Susan Schnell. But she was, of course, our pastor's wife here at one point, a loved friend, a loved member of our church. And she started a program here that is an international program that she's the lead of. And so we're so excited to hear her today.
Thank you, Billy. This down a little bit. So I am excited to be here and share with you the program. I didn't know Antoinette was going to show off her quilts, which is part of the program. But anyway, I'll get to see them later. Before we start, though, I am going to read the scripture that says, "One day some parents brought their little children to Jesus so he could touch and bless them. But when the disciples saw this, they scolded the parents for bothering him. Then Jesus called for the children and said to the disciples, 'Let the children come to me, don't stop them, for the kingdom of God belongs to those who are like these children. I tell you the truth, anyone who doesn't receive the kingdom of God like a child will never enter into it.'" So we know from that verse and others that Jesus loved children while he was here on this earth. And he still loves children, obviously. But, you know, he has asked us now to love children and to care for them and to not be bothered by them, but to teach them to love Jesus and to bring them to Jesus. So this program is kind of all about that. It's all about loving the least of these, loving the children that are marginalized and are not necessarily in homes that are good for them. So to start out, though, I want to tell you kind of how it all started, because it didn't start with me. I want to tell you how it all started almost 20 years ago. So we're going to show a video about how it all started.
Well, I've got something with me tonight, this bag right here that you probably haven't seen before. This is what is called a bag of love. Let me show you what's inside. This may take me a minute. Look at this, a huge teddy bear, a toy. There's personal items in this area right here, and a beautiful handmade quilt inside. It's all for meth orphans, children who've been separated from their parents because of the power of methamphetamine. But with all of this, one lady is healing the smallest of broken hearts. Years ago, this material almost ended up in a yard sale.
And I have a bunch of fabric.
But Barbara Nair said God told her to save it for something later. And now is later. Barbara watched our heart-wrenching special report, Meth Orphans, last November. It highlighted the growing number of children in the region left with relatives or foster families because their parents were busted for meth.
And you went over to the window and you held your microphone up to the window and you could hear the children in there just sobbing their little hearts out. And that got to me.
And that's when Barbara finally understood what her fabric was for.
They are called bags of love, and we put pockets on them so that
Barbara calls these bags of love, "It's my very own." She fills them with personal items, toys.
no bag is complete without a yellow pickup,
A stuffed animal,
because they have to have a friend.
and a handmade quilt.
A handmade quilt spells love.
Barbara has 10 quilts, all set to go in her bags of love, like this one. She is mending broken hearts, one stitch at a time. She gives the bags to Child Protective Services, who gives them to every meth orphanage in Ford County. So far this year, she's helped 25 kids.
They take these bags, and when they get the children to the car, they hand them this bag. And it's big, and it's bulky. And what child can just resist looking and wondering what's in that? And suddenly, the things don't look so bad. They begin to forget what just took place because they're focusing on that bag and what is in that bag.
It's teamwork that helps pull it all together. Barbara put her husband Jack to work making the bags.
You don't take no for an answer.
Together, they'll keep sewing as long as there's a need.
Barbara led It's My Very Own for 13 years before stepping down as director. Now, after 20 years, she's amazed at the ministry's progress by God's hand.
It just blows my mind, but then it shouldn't, because the Lord is the one that put this together. And it always gave me such great joy when they'd say, "Oh, I think this is such a wonderful program that you have done." And I said, "Whoa, wait a minute. This is the Lord's. We're only the boots on the ground."
You can start your own chapter by learning more about It's My Very Own at IMVO.org.
So that's how it all started, really almost 20 years ago. In January, it'll be actually 20 years. So I met Barbara 20 years ago, and it was actually right before we moved from, where were we living? Right before we moved from Tennessee to Maine. I met Barbara, and she had given her presentation, and I thought, oh, what a wonderful program, but I don't even sew. I don't know how I could do this, I don't sew. And we moved to Maine right after that, and interestingly enough, one of our parishioners there was doing this program. She had heard about it too. And so I got involved by purchasing and putting the bags together and things like that. So anyway, I hope I don't make this way too long, but it just shows you how God has led this program from its inception, and then how He's led me to get involved too. Anyway, so I was involved there. Then I moved to Tennessee again, and we started a chapter there. And then I moved here, and we started a chapter here. And at that time, I was traveling for my job. I was traveling a lot. And I had never met Barbara. I had never talked to her on the phone, but I emailed her and ordered another manual because I wanted to support, even though I knew how to start the program, I kind of wanted to support her, her program and to keep it going. So anyway, I emailed her and I said, and by the way, I travel for my job. If you ever need me to speak, because I knew she was getting older at that time, I said, if you ever need me to speak at churches or something about the program, I'm happy to do that for you. I love the program, So she calls me the next day, and she says, actually, I just want you to take it over and be the director. And, it kind of took me aback, and yet at the same, and I said to her, well, Barbara, you don't even know me. You don't even know who. I had never talked to her. And she said, when I got your email, she said, the Lord impressed me. This is the one to take it over. Pretty humbling to think, of that. Anyway, so she and her husband, she said they hadn't really been praying about it, but they had been talking about how is this going to keep going? We're getting older, and actually Jack, her husband, was having some health problems at the time. He has since passed. But anyway, so yeah, she said, I want you to take it over. So I called Arnold, and, I said, I do want to do it, because actually it was kind of a dream of mine anyway. And anyway, so I called her back and accepted. And so that's while we were living here, and Arnold was the pastor here. And so while we were already doing our own program here, so this was now, taking over, kind of promoting it to get more groups started, but also kind of helping the groups that were already doing it. So it's so interesting that I was here in this church when the Lord called me to do this, because, and I hope I don't forget anybody, but a lot of you helped me in a lot of ways to get this started. I don't want to forget anybody, but I just have to mention, so Ron helped me with a lot of the paperwork and the printing of things, and he was the secretary. He took notes, and Garth Richmond, who's not here anymore, but he's an attorney, and he helped us get the name It's My Very Own trademarked, because it was not trademarked before, so it's actually a registered trademark now. And then Alexis, of course, being the branding expert and artist that he is, helped to design our logo, because we did change the logo from what it was before, and he designed this banner as well. And Patty helped me actually get it, like I needed to know how to get it an actual corporation, because how Barbara did it, they did it out of their own church, which was fine, but I knew that I don't stay in the same place all the time, so I had to have it portable. So Patty helped me get the corporation started, and the not-for-profit part of it started, which was all very confusing to me. Nancy and Alan, Nancy was one of the first ones, actually, that helped put the stuff in the bags and helped us do that, and Alan provided a room for us, helped us to get that going. And I want to make sure that I mention that actually Peyton's mother-in-law, James's mother, actually helped us get started with some of our first items to put in the bag, as she got them at a very discounted price, and I appreciated that. That was very helpful. And then Melody's mother sewed all kinds of things. One teddy bear, which sitting there, I keep that to show because it's so awesome. But she gave us dolls and teddy bears and all kinds of things. So, and I have to mention that Cersei's like my biggest cheerleader. She was always, when I would get discouraged or I would be like, oh, not sure, she was my biggest cheerleader. And then Dell helped us with our very first videos that we did. So he was our videographer. So, it really, it takes a village, right? Of course, last but not at all least, is Antoinette. So I approached Antoinette actually at Billy's retirement award ceremony, and I said, I hear that you sew. And I was telling her about the program, and she was kind of confused because I said that I don't sew, and she said, well, how do you do this? And I said, well, I have people. And then I was like, and you're going to be one of my people. In fact, you're going to be just like my big people. So she, and then of course she has continued it on and has provided one of the bags sitting here actually she made, but I know she's made so many bags and quilts, and so couldn't have done it without her. So, it really takes a village to do this, and I just appreciate that the Lord brought me here at the time when I needed it, because I couldn't have done this without all of these that I mentioned. There's just no way I couldn't have done it. So I'm just so grateful that He provided for me and provided you all to join in with this program. So I want to talk about, so when I moved to Tennessee, and after here, we started a program there, but neither church had a place where we could put the items, and especially all the items that kind of belong to the international portion of of the ministry, not just the local ministry. So it was interesting. See, again, the Lord provides. This is not coincidence. So in one of our churches there, a childhood friend of mine, a friend that I went to grade school with in Maine, she and her husband were living there, and they had a building that they were no longer using. Somebody else was storing some things in it, but they were moving out. And I don't usually ask friends, for favors, because I don't want them, especially as a pastor's wife, because I don't want them to feel pressured as a pastor's wife, that, oh, well, we got to do it because she's the pastor's wife, or she only wants to be my friend because I'm asking for this favor. So, I'm not always willing to step out that way. But I just got the impression to ask her. I said, I know you could sell this building. I know that you could rent it for a lot of money, but I'm just asking if you would be willing to let us use this for the international ministry. And she and her husband talked it over, and we have this wonderful building with a kitchen and everything, and rent-free. So, again, it's just amazing. I'm so amazed just how, but I shouldn't be amazed. Just like Barbara said, we shouldn't be amazed because it's God's program. And he is going to bless it. Barbara always said when a person would start a new chapter, she always said, prepare to be blessed. And that's true. I have so many stories to tell you, but of how chapters, when they've started, how they've been blessed. But let's go next to, I want to demonstrate to you, in this next video, it'll demonstrate to you how this program is also helpful for the social workers because they have a hard job. This is actually a social worker from the Relative Caregiver Program. We serve in Tennessee. They have a program. It's a wonderful program, and it's throughout the whole state of Tennessee where children are living with relatives. So they have not actually gone through the foster care system, but they're living with relatives, and a lot of times they have even less resources than the foster care children. So anyway, this is a video one of the social workers from the Relative Caregiver Program.
So I'm Lena Mays. I work with the South Central Relative Caregiver Program as a family advocate and the family advocate team lead. We serve families in 14 counties around the South Central region with families who are relatives that are caring for relative children to keep them out of foster care. We have a range of caregivers that are anywhere from 21 all the way up to 70, 80s. And the kids are the same way somewhat. They range from 8 months old all the way up to 17. We also, our home visitation program, we go in and see our families once every month for about an hour. We also do kind of just little groups for our kiddos to get out their environment at that point and meet other kids who are going through the same situations as they are. We also have support groups for all of our caregivers in each of our counties to where our caregivers get to meet each other and kind of get advice and talk about the things that go along with raising relative children. We are partnered with Bags of Love, and we give our families a bag for each of the children once they are open in our program, and it's like Christmas morning for them. The caregivers love seeing the bags coming through, and then once the children get to see them, they're opening them just like Christmas morning, and they get to pull out all of the different things, the hygiene items, the stuffed animals, and they just love to show the caregiver and their family advocate what they've gotten and how excited they are. They love to have any and all things that are now their very own. So I've had a child in one of my counties. He's probably about 8 years old, and he opened his bag and he found a Ninja Turtle book, and he was the most excited because that was his favorite thing. And he just ran over to his grandmother and said, "Oh my goodness, Grandma, look what I got. I got a Ninja Turtle book." And he was just so excited and couldn't wait to look through it and flip through all the pages and show me, come tell me, look at this. This is Michelangelo, and named all of them. And he was just so excited and couldn't wait to read it and couldn't wait to use it. And the more he opened, the more he found that he was so excited about, and he was just so pleased and thankful that he was able to get something that he loved, let alone just something that he could use. With some of the bags had Bibles in them. And it may be the first time that child has received a Bible, and they're so excited to receive that Bible so that they can learn more while they're going to church with their grandparents, their aunts, their uncles, their siblings, whoever it may be. They get to read more about the Word of God and understand more of the world around them because of the Bible they've received in their bags.
Yes, so that really touched me, that she was so impressed that, the children enjoyed getting the Bibles. And we're fortunate, it's interesting, so in the Bible Belt down here, we're able to put Bibles in it. When I moved to Tennessee with the Department of Children's Services, I thought it would be the same, that I could put Bibles in, but I'm actually not allowed to. We serve 3 counties for the Department of Children's Services, and we serve 14 counties for the Relative Caregiver Program. And so we are able to put Bibles in that program. And so I'm just so pleased that the children actually recognize and enjoy getting a Bible. And like she said, sometimes it's for the first time. So the Lord is really blessed in that area. Some of those pictures, that film was taken at our building, and you could see some of the setup there. You could see how blessed we are to have that building. So I was going to say something else about the Relative Caregiver Program. Oh, I know. I was just going to say that we give between 10 and 25 bags a month to the Relative Caregiver Program, because, it's just heartbreaking, but so many children are not living with their parents. They're living with other relatives. We're giving a lot of bags away. So we have a lot of chapters throughout the U.S. and Canada. There's one program that serves like the whole province of Alberta, Canada, and they have been doing it. There's probably a map that's going to come up. Oh, there it is. Thank you. So this kind of shows where all the chapters are throughout the U.S. and Canada. We have one in Alaska. We have one in Hawaii, and I just have received 3 more requests for getting started kits. And 2 of them were from Canada, so in Ontario and New Brunswick. So anyway, that'll be expanding. So on my website, I have like 110, I think, chapters, but not all of them tell me if they're still doing it or not doing it. So I've tried to call around to the chapters and say, hey, are you still doing it? So I made a phone call one day to a lady named June Jones, and I made a phone call to her, and her husband answered the phone, and we have a video of Roger's story, because his wife, I don't want to give the story away. Let's just show the video. Roger's story.
Are you excited about missions? Our media missionaries certainly are enthusiastic. That is why part of our mission is to bring you stories from around the world telling the story of how members like you are ministering in their neighborhoods and communities. Meeting felt needs in local communities is an integral part of missions. Seventh-day Adventist churches and lay members around the world implement culturally appropriate projects, which often involve children. The story of It's My Very Own has been repeated in many different locations, and one day June Jones learned about it. She knew this was a mission she wanted to be involved in, and began Bags of Love, creating the It's My Very Own chapter in Wetumpka, Alabama.
Truly, I really don't know for sure exactly how she really heard about it, but I'm pretty sure she heard about it off the internet. I helped her with it. Me and her did it together. We had a little storage shed. I think it was 12 by 24 we had, fixed up lights in it and tables. And she kept all her stuff in little bins and all. And it was really neat the way she had it fixed.
June and Roger worked diligently to make the bags special for the children who would receive them.
We had different age groups. You know, we did bags for up to 3 and then up to 6, 9, and 12 and 15. It really made her happy to be able to do the Bags of Love to do for the community.
Roger and June loved to help others in their community.
Me and my wife, June, believe in helping our community and doing things for our community and serving our community. So that's what we did. We fixed it up and we got our license the first try, nonprofit organization license the first time. And we served, she had 8 or 10 every day at the senior center. And she got her, she was back on track and she was happy again. And she enjoyed doing what she was doing for the community.
As Roger and June served the children in their community, they found satisfaction in meeting the needs of the vulnerable. Then the unthinkable happened.
We went to Birmingham and they diagnosed us with fibrosis of the lungs, and they wanted to give her some high-powered medicine and she didn't want to take it. So we found a natural doctor in Montgomery, and this natural doctor kept her going for almost 3 years.
As June's health declined, the Bags of Love project weighed heavily on her mind.
He made me promise to her that I would keep these Bags of Love going.
For the past 5 years, Roger has kept June's dream going. This time of year is one of the special times for packing the bags.
Christmas time is a special time of the year for kids, you know. We was kids at one time, and we always enjoyed getting something for Christmas. So what we do, we put the Bags of Love in there. I mean, we put the animals in there. We go to the Dollar Tree. We buy toothpaste, toothbrushes, Bibles, colors, and color books, hair shampoo, mirrors for the little girls, gloves for the boys. One time we had a little boy that didn't have wasn't gonna have any Christmas that she knew about. We got him a bicycle, and they came here and we gave him a bicycle for Christmas, and he was really happy.
Sourcing the materials for the bags is a labor of love, and sometimes it's not easy to find items to fill the bags. That's when donations are an important part of the project.
I just want to thank all the people from Rolling Hills Church that donated the stuffed animals and the blankets and the bags. We've been having problems getting materials to stuff these bags full, and it's a great help for you all to bring these to us today. And I know the kids will be blessed getting all this stuff.
And Susan Schnell called me up and said there's a man in Alabama whose wife had her own chapter of It's My Very Own for her region. And she was an active sewer and made quilts and bags, and then she passed away, but she made her husband promise, you keep this ministry going. And that's a lot for a man who doesn't quilt and doesn't sew, and it's a lot of money on one person. So when Susan told me about that man, I talked to the ladies in the group, and we all said, oh yeah, we'll help him.
Roger has been determined to carry on June's legacy to the community. Now he looks forward to passing that on to the next generations.
I pray that my daughter and my granddaughter will keep this going, because it's a great thing for these kids each year.
Has Roger and June's story inspired you to do something similar in your community? You can start your own chapter by learning more about It's My Very Own at imvo.org.
So that's Roger's story. Pretty impressive, you know. Here's this man, he's a tow truck driver, owner, and but he believes in the program and wants to keep it going. He only does it at Christmas. He doesn't do it all year round. You can understand that he wouldn't be able to do that, but we're hoping with this video, we actually just got this video about a month ago. We're hoping that so the Gulf States Conference is going to send it all out to, all the churches, and we're hoping that some people will really come around him and help him be able to continue to do this. And hopefully we're praying that someone will actually take it over and, continue the program. So, man, it is getting late, and I had more videos, but I'm gonna not go to all those videos because it's getting late. So I just want to say a couple of things before we finish. One of the videos was Barbara saying how important the quilt is. She was saying that, you could give just a blanket or whatever that you bought, but the quilt actually spells love because it's something personal, and the children, even though they might not understand completely what a quilt is, they know that it's something special and it's their very own. It's for them. So she was impressed actually by God to actually make quilts and to have that kind of the signature, if you will, of the program. So I am going to read a Bible text just in closing and just end with one more story. So in Luke 10:29, it says, "What is the price of 2 sparrows? 1 copper coin? But not a single sparrow can fall to the ground without your Father knowing it." I look at these children who are displaced from their homes for whatever reason. I look at them in a sense as the sparrows, the ones that maybe are overlooked or neglected in a lot of ways. But the Father knows these children. And it's important as we're making the bags, and we emphasize this throughout all the chapters, that we pray that over these children that are going to receive these bags, that these bags will somehow introduce, or to let them know that someone cares, and that hopefully somehow they'll know that Jesus cares as well. Even when we're not able to put in a Bible, with praying over the children in the bags, that we feel like that the Lord will touch their hearts in some way. I want to give an example of that. I have heard from several chapters, they've told me several stories very similar to this one. A bag was given to a little boy around 7 years old, I think, and the social worker told, this was a chapter in Tennessee, East Tennessee, the Appalachian Mountains, and the social worker told the leader there, he pulled out a stuffed animal elephant, and he said, "How did they know that this is my favorite animal?" And we've heard that story from many different chapters that have said social workers have told them that. How did they know? Well, obviously we don't know, because we don't know about the children ahead of time, but God knows. And I feel like this is part of him knowing the sparrows, right? Like he knows what they need, what they like, what they want. And I feel like God directs those bags. Oftentimes when I've been putting things in a bag, I'm like, well, should I put this? Should I put this? And, I decide, and I don't always know, but I feel like, I get kind of an impression that this is what I need to put in the bag. And, just like the social worker said, it was a Ninja Turtle book, who knew? But, that was his favorite thing. So God cares still about the children, and he's working through us to also care for them. So let's see. I guess we have the closing hymn, which is God Will Take Care of You, 99.